All right, this is Graham Matthews standing here with
Donovan Dijak.
Ring of Honor wrestler and an experienced indie wrestler as well. So what has been your experience with injuries over the course of your career?
Injuries. I've actually been fairly fortunate. I haven't had like severe concussions. I've had a couple been dazed for a quick second or whatever, but nothing too serious, especially when you consider the stories I've heard from other guys. Fortunately, knock on wood, because I know they're probably in my future. In terms of actual injuries, I mean, there's always bumps and bruises. Something's always sore. I rolled my ankle in Dallas last week, so that's all taped up now. But in terms of things that I've had to take time off for, my left and right pec I tore early in my career. Other than that, there's not much that I've missed time for. I had surgery on my left elbow, so that doesn't count. So it wasn't really an injury, although it did kind of happen in wrestling. I had a nerve issue, but it wasn't like in the ring. It was from going to shows and stuff. But that's a story for another day. So yeah, I've been very fortunate in terms of actual injuries in the ring. In terms of stuff on shows, because the two pec tears were one of them was lifting and the other one was at a seminar. So I've been very fortunate to not have any real serious injuries yet. Again, knock on wood. But of course, everybody else in the world of professional wrestling has. So you always have to be careful. I pride myself on being as safe as I can. So, even with all the silly, stupid dives that I'm sure are going to catch up with me at some point, I've been very fortunate. I got sore knees and stuff, but I'm sure eventually one of them will tear or whatever. But but as of right now, they haven't. Fingers crossed it won't happen anytime soon.
So how long have you been wrestling for?
I've been wrestling now. I started training about 3.5 years ago. My first match on a show was about 3, maybe a little less than 3. Am I timing that right? 2013, I had my first match on a show. So yeah, about 2.5, 3 years ago was basically when I had my first match in front of a live paid crowd. So that's how long I've been wrestling. I started training about 6 months before that in late 2012.
So in that time, especially recently, you mentioned concussions. Have stuff like that gotten are you more aware, or people more aware of the severity of concussions, like with Daniel Bryan going out and stuff like that? Are people more hesitant about it, I guess?
I think so. Hesitant probably isn't the right word, because we're still going to do everything. I mean, I think there's a different view on unprotected chair shots and things to the back of the head, because of Benoit and everything like that. But so people take more caution with that. Everybody kind of follows WWE, and right now they don't allow chair shots to the head or pile drivers or anything like that. So to a certain extent, a lot of people are leaning in that direction, which is a good thing, because it doesn't really make a difference. I don't think in this day and age people care whether you're putting your hands up for a chair shot or whatever. But yeah, in terms of when guys get them, I think they're taken a little more seriously. People take some time off to try to recover. Maybe you'd adjust the finish of a match or whatever it happens to be, so you're not further doing further damage to your brain, because obviously people understand the severity. And obviously Chris Nowinski, who started off with Chaotic Wrestling, actually is doing a great job with all his CTE research and everything like that. So it's a good time now. A lot of guys are donating their brains to Nowinski and his concussion foundation, so hopefully they learn a lot of stuff from that.
And you mentioned the various injuries that you've suffered over the course of your career. Have those at all affected the other side of your life, your personal life, the other job that you have, if you may have one? You know what I mean? Outside of wrestling, has it affected you at all?
Yeah, fortunately, not right now. Nothing's been too severe. I mean, occasionally I'm limping around my job or whatever, or my back's sore when I sit down. But nothing's been able to, I haven't had to go on workman's comp or anything like that. So I've been very fortunate in that aspect. Really the worst thing that's happened is I have to drive to a lot of places, so I don't get enough sleep at night. So I go into my job and I'm kind of tired and falling asleep on the job. But I do a pretty good job of, taking 5-hour energies and staying awake. But that's a story for another day, I suppose.
And did they understand this other side of your life, this Clark Kent Batman kind of comparison, and that? Did they understand you're kind of on TV every single week and you're facing the Ring of Honor World Champion and stuff like that? Yeah. Did they understand that you're a big deal outside of your job?
Yeah, I think a lot of my coworkers are starting to watch the programming and stuff. Actually, I saw 2 or 3 of my coworkers today. They came because I only work in Methuen right down the road. So I'm very fortunate for their support. I think I'm getting pretty close to not having to have that job anymore. So I'm thankful for that. I mean, at least, moving it down to a part-time job because, wrestler works, even if you're traveling, to another country or whatever, it's still only Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So you still got Tuesday and Wednesday free to do nothing. So a lot of guys just kind of hang out Monday through Thursday and don't do much. So if I did have those days free, I think I'd still work part-time just because I have nothing else to do. But at least I'd be able to focus on like lifting and stuff. Right now, my schedule is so jam-packed that I got no time for anything. But hopefully that'll change in 6 months. So I'm looking forward to it.
And finally, have you had any coworkers, as you mentioned, that didn't know you were a wrestler before, but like turned on, Destination America or wherever have seen you wrestle? Like, I know that guy. Like, he's actually a bigger deal than I thought. You know what I mean?
Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's they learn that I'm a pro wrestler.
And they see you outside
at work, and then they go looking for it. Because it's not something I like hide. I come in limping. Like, hey, why are you limping? Oh, well, I'm a pro wrestler. They say, oh, that's awesome. Do you do any local shows? Yeah, I'm doing one in Lowell. And then they come to the show, they see me wrestle, then you wrestle on TV? Yeah, and then they turn on Nesson or whatever it happens to be. They can watch me on TV. So that's kind of how that usually flows. Because in the real world, most people aren't pro wrestling fans, especially adults. But once they learn that they know someone involved in it, then they get all excited and they want to, they want to see what I do.
Yeah. Great. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, totally, man.
Thanks
Anytime.